Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. You know that feeling when you get something you've been dreaming about forever? That was me, Charlie, and my best friend, Tim. We live and breathe drones. We've watched every video, read every review, and we both agree on one thing. The absolute best drones come from China. They're sleek, they're fast, they're just perfect. So imagine my excitement when my Uncle John, who travels a ton for work, told me he was going to China. I didn't even have to ask. He knew, he promised he'd bring me back the drone of my dreams. The wait was torture, but the day he came back was the best day of my life. He handed me this box, and inside was the most beautiful quadcopter I had ever seen. It was a masterpiece of engineering. Tim and I were inseparable from it. We named it the Falcon. We spent every sunny afternoon at the park, making the Falcon dance in the sky. It soared, it dipped, it did these incredible aerial tricks. We were filming everything, planning to make the most epic drone video ever. For 2 glorious weeks, life was perfect. We were the kings of the sky. But then it happened. One afternoon, we were attempting a super complex corkscrew maneuver. The Falcon was climbing, and then it just stuttered. It listed to one side. One of the propellers worried weirdly, and it started losing altitude. We managed to bring it down safely, but my heart sank. Something was wrong, seriously wrong. Back in my room, the mood was grim. The Falcon just sat there, looking sad and broken. One of its motors wouldn't engage properly. I was devastated. This wasn't just a toy. It was my pride and joy, a gift from my favorite uncle. Seeing it grounded felt like a part of me was grounded too. I slumped onto my bed, staring at the ceiling, feeling completely helpless. That's when Tim, ever the optimist, piped up. "Don't worry, Charlie. I can fix it." Tim fancies himself a bit of a tech genius. He's taken apart old radios and once got my dad's toaster working again. So I figured, what's the harm? "I've watched like 100 drone repair videos," he said, puffing out his chest. "It's probably just a loose wire." Easy peasy. Reluctantly, I agreed. What other choice did I have? Tim arrived the next day with his toolkit, which was basically a collection of tiny screwdrivers and a very large magnifying glass he got for his birthday. He laid the Falcon gently on my desk, like a surgeon preparing for an operation. "Okay," he announced. "Time for some delicate electronic surgery." I watched nervously as he started unscrewing the outer casing. Tiny screws went flying everywhere. "Don't worry, I know where they all go," he assured me, though he didn't look very sure. He peered inside with his magnifying glass, poking around with a screwdriver. "Aha, I see the problem," he declared. He fiddled with a small cluster of wires. There was a tiny spark and a faint smell of burnt plastic. "Uh-oh," Tim whispered. He tried to power it on. Nothing. Dead. Completely and utterly dead. The one wobbly propeller was now joined by 3 other perfectly still ones. He hadn't just failed to fix it. He'd made it so much worse. My amazing drone was now an expensive paperweight. I was beyond upset. I think Tim felt worse than I did, though he just kept apologizing, his face pale. The silence in the room was deafening, broken only by my sighs. Just then, the door creaked open. It was Uncle John. He took one look at the dismantled drone, the scattered screws, and our gloomy faces. He didn't get mad. Instead, a slow smile spread across his face. "Having some technical difficulties, boys?" he asked. He picked up the drone's lifeless body. "You know," he said, "my workshop is basically a graveyard of good intentions, just like this. Why don't you bring this patient over to my hospital?" Uncle John's workshop wasn't a hospital. It was a glorious, chaotic junkyard in his garage, filled with old engines, strange metal contraptions, and tools I couldn't even name. It was his happy place. In the middle of this organized chaos, Uncle John became a different person. He was focused, confident. He laid the Falcon on his workbench, surrounded by soldering irons and multimeter. He worked with a calm precision that was mesmerizing. He showed us how Tim had accidentally shorted the main circuit board. "A common mistake," he said, winking at Tim, who finally looked a bit relieved. He expertly soldered a new connection, replaced a tiny fried capacitor he magically had in a drawer, and reassembled the whole thing with ease. He tightened the last screw, looked at us, and said, "Moment of truth." He flicked the power switch. The lights blinked to life. The motors whirred in perfect harmony. It was alive. Tim and I erupted in cheers. We couldn't believe it. Uncle John just laughed. "The trick," he said, "isn't just knowing how to fix things. It's about not being afraid to try, even if you mess up. That's how you really learn." He looked at Tim. "And maybe watch a few more videos before you perform. Surgery next time." We all laughed. The Falcon was back, and we'd learned a valuable lesson. And I learned that my Uncle John might just be the coolest person on the planet. Thanks for sticking with our story, everyone. It was a bit of a roller coaster, but we got there in the end. If you enjoyed our little adventure, please hit that like button and consider subscribing for more stories, and maybe, just maybe, some epic flight footage from the newly repaired Falcon. See you in the next one.